We are live here, Heavy Muscle Radio on 2021 evening, and I'm joined with Lee Priest, Chris Aceto, and John Romano. I think we are. What's up, guys?
That's just good. I was just laughing at the comments. One was John's late because he's looking for his beanie, and we're waiting for Chris combing his hair. Someone just took fiber eyes. So
I did all three of those things.
We have a lot of comedians in our inner circle here.
Well, we have a lot of wannabe comedians.
That's right. Some of them are funny. Some of them aren't. But.
Some are very talented.
I think we should start off by saying I'm very happy to know that Victor Richards is alive. We got one of our guys back finally.
Exactly.
We lost so many.
And I want to know why people keep saying, "Oh, RX reported this, RX reported this." I'd seen that story 4 times before you put it up, Dave. So it wasn't like you came out with this story that he was dead. I saw 4 other channels had it up before you even did it.
Generation Iron had it up first.
To be honest, I didn't even put it up on my Instagram, my personal Instagram, because I wasn't sure, because no one can confirm it. It was kind of like one of these games of telephone. It all went back to the same person. But, I texted Victor and he didn't get back to me. And a couple people that are friends with him also said that he didn't get back to him. So I had to assume, all right, well, we should put it up out of respect. We put it on the Rxmuscle Instagram. But, look, I don't know why he didn't respond right away to say, hey, I'm alive, but I'm glad that he is alive, and that's all that matters, really, in the end of the day. I don't know why people think that we're irresponsible reporters when there's 10 other at least top media organizations out there and Instagram and YouTube channels that have reported it way before we did, and no one's saying anything about them, right?
Well, because we're the best, so we're going to be held to a higher standard than everybody else. It's the way that is, and so, in 15 years we made a mistake. So, but look, what do we have to go by? We had to go by 20 other reports that said the same thing. So we were just, like you said, it was out of respect. It wasn't like we were trying to get the scoop and report it first. It was just something we were doing out of respect. So
I heard about it, John, before everyone did, because people called me usually to tell me these things, and I didn't trust it. So I said, let me wait and see if anyone else puts it up. Maybe they heard, I want to see if other people heard the same thing. And because I knew it wasn't a trusted source, it was actually Andreas Calling who heard it from another guy. And he had told me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not putting anything up until I get confirmation. And then I saw Generation Iron posted it like it was, and then Blackman probably went and said, Ron, do a live stream. Hurry, go live. They didn't know anything. No one said a word about the fact that they were doing live stream, reporting on the thing, and no one had confirmation at that point. So I don't know what the problem. I like Ian Valier a lot. I think he's a great guy. I think he's good for the sport. He's got a great physique. He was like, so he wrote something like "Get your facts straight" or something like that, which is kind of weird that he wrote that on only on our Instagram. Meanwhile, when his wife got arrested, he was the first guy, PMing us, asking us to take down all the posts, because it was bad publicity. Which, I'll do anything for the guy. I don't know where these people like
I said, Dave, we're held to a higher standard because we belong there. So. I guess
it's a compliment.
Yes,
that's the way I'm looking at it.
Yes, I've always belonged to a higher standard, John. I'm glad you see me.
I think, Lee, you should cancel everyone else. That's what you should do.
That's what you should do.
Cancel everyone.
That's a lot of work, I know.
Chris has left. He's left. He's going to get the comb.
Yep. He's gonna
Chris was canceled. Someone got canceled. I don't even know what happened.
He's gonna drive to Boston. He wants to get a steak sandwich.
Yeah, I'm completely blown away when I see these people that it's hard to report the news, and usually when someone's when we hear about someone dying or something like that, if the person's alive, if someone said I died, would you go on, John, and say, you know what? Guess what, guys? I'm here still. Don't write me off yet.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I like the old saying,
It's a little weird, that it took them 7 days to respond,
I like the old saying, we don't break the news, we just fix it. So, that's really what happened here. I mean, we weren't trying for the scoop. This was reported by tons of other people. I mean, all Victor Richards had to do was answer your text, and it would have been
right. 30 seconds.
Imagine if that happened, John. What Dave just said. If we heard Dave was dead, and then all of a sudden, like in an hour or two, he said, "No, I'm still here." What a party pooper that would be, huh? Jesus, put the celebrations away, John.
No, you're thinking of Sean Ray's podcast.
This guy puts up, Dave, you should have checked. All right, well, where was I supposed to check?
He tried to check.
Where am I supposed to check? Generation Iron had it up. MD posted it. Nick Strength and Power did a video on it. So I'm like, all right, I guess it must be true then,
Well, you sent him.
So why am I the
reply.
guy who fucked up somehow? But no one else fucked up.
I keep telling you, I'm sticking to my story because people expect more out of us. That's why. So we're held to a higher standard. Yeah, we should have been bigger than Generation Iron, bigger than Nick, bigger than all of those guys, and really held off until we had an absolute verification that it was true. We didn't do that. We went along with the flow, and I don't blame you. I can't, how could anybody blame you for doing that? So, yeah, I'm going to take it as a compliment that the people out there really do think that we are that good, that we shouldn't be, making these kind of mistakes. And I'm going to look at that as a positive thing, a constructive criticism, and I think we should pay attention to it.
I saw that pay-per-view comment disappear there, Dave. Where'd it go?
They want to do a Sean Ray versus Lee Priest pay-per-view.
I wanted to do that for the last 2 years, but he keeps saying
I know.
no.
Sean will never fight you. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding?
You think if someone put up $1 million, John, like for both of them, that Sean would do it just for the money, or would he turn it down just because he didn't want to get beat up by Lee Priest?
That would be more of a dilemma to Sean than telling him that, putting him in a round room and saying there's a penny in the corner.
I wouldn't even take the $1 million. My $1 million could go to charity. I'd be happy to jump in there for nothing.
Sean would probably let his daughter fight Lee, right? In his place.
His mother.
Yeah.
He seems to let his mother do everything for him, so I'm sure she'll probably have to get in the ring. Just saying.
Just saying. The whole thing with I want to just address the thing with Sean Ray, because I put up a video why I took the Sean Ray interview down. And first of all,
thank God you did.
No, well, it was the right thing to do. But I watched the video, and I'm not, and you know what? It wasn't terrible, but it was in bad taste, is what it was. He didn't really say anything like outright terrible. He threw digs in, and you don't do that on it. But he's done that on, like Chris pointed out. He did that when Dallas McCarver died. He threw the
it was terrible, Dave.
It
was terrible, Dave. It was terrible.
I think the Grim Reaper
got slammed for it,
Dallas
Dave.
McCarver
It was terrible.
Chris is right.
It was terrible.
Terrible.
It was fucking horrible.
Terrible.
The guy been dead 2 days, and Sean, when you talk about someone and you see how I talk now, you can see that I'm pissed. You can see that there's anger. He talks about Sean Roden like somebody talks about they misplaced their credit card with no feeling of there's no feeling of nothing.
No. Well, that just goes to show how selfish.
And then this is how we know. So if it was you and you died, and 2 days later, somebody was on some type of one of these podcasts, saying things that were 100% untrue, including you were you took drugs. The whole point is, I'm not buying the idea, frankly, that this whole thing was, to promote health. He's not a doctor. He came on to disparage a person who's pretty much loved by everyone and been dead for 2 days. So be careful where you go with, it wasn't a mistake. It was a big mistake. And it's even a bigger mistake not to say it was a mistake.
I said it was a mistake, and I removed it. I
mean,
went to remove it. If I didn't think it was a mistake, Chris, I would not have removed it.
I know. But
look, when I did the video,
it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It was worse than bad. It was fucking horrible.
But the reason why it was so bad was because it was done in a sneaky way.
John is not in his head, so I'm not going to be I don't care if I'm the only one. It was fucking horrible.
No, it was terrible.
I would still don't get me ramped up because I would like to know how he got on the show. You know what?
I don't want to go there because he approached me and made it seem as though.
I will say this.
What?
I told you, and you can quote me. We're live. That I told you should never have Sean Ray on your show. I did tell you this too. I would quit if he ever mentioned my name on this show. I would quit. And I told you that he would be a potential downfall for you, and I'm always right. And that's exactly how it's played out.
Right. Look, I'm addressing it here because I'm giving you a voice. That's why. Because I'm not afraid I'm not backing down from it.
I'll take the voice.
I took it off because it was the right thing to do. I didn't have him on because I thought he was going to disparage Sean Roden. I mean, you know me better than that. Okay. Who in their right mind would think that someone would disparage a dead person?
I would think that Sean Ray has the potential to do that.
It's not like he hasn't done it.
That's why I have the post. So let's move on. That's why I had the post up on my Instagram that I don't know why Jake Wood, yes, he is an employee of yours, Jake Wood.
That's a better question.
He gets paid by you. He made, let's not cut the use a fine-tooth comb to cut, what's the definition of an employee and an independent contractor? He gets paid by you. And you can go to my Instagram and don't say you haven't been there because I'm sure you have. And you can find 1,000 people under a post, 1,000 universally in collective agreement that he's an idiot. And Jake Woods, Jim Mannion, NPC, someone keeps him around. I don't keep him around. Romano doesn't keep him around. You don't keep him around. Lee Priest. Yeah. Someone's giving him a paycheck to, quote, keep him around. And today, I will say this. Someone texted me today. I forget for the number of reasons why I think he's an idiot. And Jake Wood, Jim Mannion, they still keep him around. You can go back to the Jose's final. Why do you think he's an idiot? Besides things like Sean Roden, you can go back to the final competition by Jose Raymond at the Olympia. He was up doing his routine. The official paid commentator was Sean Ray. And he said, well, Jose, I don't think is looking so good tonight. Well, he got third place. Hasn't looked good in years. He's been top 3 like 5 years in a row. He's having marital issue. Quote, he's having marital issues. What?
I've heard him mention personal issues like that a few times on commentaries. He's gone into
that's always off limits. Yeah, that's always off limits.
But you know what? Everyone's hoping that just don't say anything. It'll all blow over and be okay.
Well, Chris, what's your theory? Why do they keep him around? For what reason?
Because he's a thug. They need a thug once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know what makes it more?
I just hope someone's got a camera there when Guy runs into him if he's at that Fit Expo in LA.
I was talking to the guy on the phone. He told me he's going to go crazy. Yeah. So.
You know what makes this more egregious than anything is that it's us. It's our community. Bodybuilders are inherently always more of a brotherhood than any other sport on the face of the planet, and to treat for one of us to treat another one like that and say those kinds of things and just be that morose and cold about their death and the issues about it, of which they know nothing but portend to. It's just horrible. I mean,
Sean's always been that way.
You make a good point. Yeah, you make a good point. Because you know what? Even your worst enemy, even the person that you might hate the worst, even if Sean Ray died, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about the negative aspects of Sean Ray. We would be talking about whatever was good about him in terms of being a great competitor,
that'd be a great bodybuilder.
No, my point is when someone's dead, you don't go and rehash all the bad stuff about them. That's not what you do. Okay. Not especially not a day or two after.
Especially
Sean Ray just died. Here's his show. He was a great bodybuilder. Next. That's it.
They'll keep him
He's been an
around.
asshole. I've known Sean for.
They'll keep him around, whoever they are. And, the idea right now, can guarantee you, is, don't comment on it and hope that it gets, time will make it all go away. And Sean will show up with the microphone at the Olympia and, string together 500 sentences, to pretend that he's, got a brain above his shoulders. And he'll still be there. He'll still be there. They will not get rid of him. And you're not, and they won't, they, whoever they is, whether it be Jake or the NPC is, God forbid people, fans, actually move the needle somewhere, because people want him gone, myself included. But you know what? It's people don't run the game.
This happened the last time when Jake spanked him on the air, though, Chris.
Well, fool me once, fool me twice.
There was a petition to get rid of him. Wasn't there like a petition with 1,000 signatures on it?
Well, here's their response. Anyone can put together a petition.
I think Sean's the Joe Biden of the IFBB. Needs to go.
And it's always much easier to beg for forgiveness than do the right thing out of the gate. So they'll say Chris is right. They'll say whatever and move along, nothing to see here, and it'll go away in a day or two or 3 or 4. People forget until the next time he opens his mouth, and then it'll be another thing. But they don't care. Since when do they care? They don't care. When have they cared? This shit is like all the time. So,
the court of public opinion makes a big difference, and so if you're not going to contribute in a positive way, I mean, everyone screws up once in a while, but if you're not going to be a positive contributor to what we're doing, in the sense that you're trying to, bring light on the competitors in a positive way so that it inspires people to want to get into bodybuilding and want to watch bodybuilding, then, I think people don't want to hear that. After a while, people get sick of hearing that. Like, I don't want to watch a commentator on TV commentating on the Olympia and putting down everyone. It's just not. It's like leaves a bad taste in your mouth after a while about the whole thing.
Doesn't he like the sport? I mean, don't you want somebody commentating who has a passion for and loves the sport, not just wants to see how many digs he can get in on it?
I think we've mentioned the douchebag's name enough. Let's move on. He doesn't need any more time.
Let's talk about.
I don't even care if you cut that first segment off, because he shouldn't even be fucking mentioned.
Well, Lee, I address everything. I don't care. There's nothing I'm not going to talk about because it's on the fans' mind. So I wanted to get it out. I know
this is
Chris
how we
wanted
should
to
have
talk
addressed
about
it. 4, 2, 1, and welcome back to RX Muscle Show today. I want to address the Sean Ray problem. Sean Ray's a cunt under the Romanian Pro show. That's how you address it. That's
let's talk about Rafa Brandeo's crazy win in Romania. Obviously, this is another Jake Wood production. What a great that Romania Muscle Fest that they put on over there is like the Olympia, John. Right? I mean, do you see the pomp and circumstance and the stage backdrop with the LEDs and I mean, amazing looking.
A lot of spectacle there. A lot of spectacle.
Now, it's interesting, Chris. I thought Rafa looked just as good last week as he did this week, although I will say his tan was better than this week. Did he win because he had a better tan this week? Did that do it for
No, I think that it was I just think he was full of this week. I think I don't know if that was better necessarily, but it just goes to show you this. How many times have I said on this show? I've said it so many times where a show was close and you can look on scorecards and it's not close at all. And, you can have 7 judges and every single person goes Rafa's way, but all 7 of them were on the, themselves think that a previous show could have gone either way. In other words, last week Rafa was second, or Samson was first, and the scorecards were pretty unanimous for one. And this week it was flipped. I think it could have gone either way last week. I mean, it depends on what your preference is. So maybe people thought it could have gone either way this week, but I don't think he looked marginally better this week over last week. I think he pretty much looked the same with, as you said, maybe about a 10. I think it might have been a little fuller, and if the knock against him is not, quote, not big enough, then super detailed people aren't, appreciative of, including judges. You can show them all the detail you want, but we want big. So this week he actually was, Dave. Take a guess how much he weighed on the scale the morning of the show 1 week later.
How much?
Well, since you can't guess, 7.5
If you were Milo, I'd say 40 pounds, but I don't know.
Yes, I guess up his place. And he had the best part of the show was this tribute to Sean. And Dave, I posted a picture. I posted a picture of him and Sean, and in 2 seconds after I posted that picture, he sent me this video. And I'm not a crier. I don't cry.
He was crying. Look, he's crying when he was walking out there, Chris.
When he did, this is Sean's song. I always think of this is Sean's song. And when he did the back double where he does that funny little wavy shoulder roll that Sean does.
Yeah. Look at that backdrop that they did on that stage there. That had to cost a fortune, right?
It's like each one of those is a TV.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's a wall of TVs. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is this not showing up? Is this not showing up with the music? Because he uses music.
Yeah, no, this is. I didn't want to put the music on because I don't know if it might demonetize us, but they might, YouTube hits you. But Rafa's great here, really.
Great physique.
But looking at the photos, it looks like it could have gone either way, like Chris said. With him and Samson again, whether it was the lighting or he's a bit fuller, you'd be splitting hairs to say one was more outstanding than the other. It looked pretty close from the photos I saw. So
you know what, Lee? Here's my analysis. I 100% knew Rafa was going to win, 100%, and I told him he was going to win. One, because he was like Sean's favorite, and I believe in those like weird little, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was going to post the Sean song. But two, if you have some people on the judging panel from last week to this week, right? You tell me if this doesn't make sense. And Rafa looks exactly the same and Samson looked exactly the same. It's an impossibility that Rafa can win because you look the same and we just, there's nothing different. And this week, Rafa said, maybe, I can get more peeled. And I said, no, you'll just be small and you'll lose. But if you come but if you come in fuller, it might not be better. If you come in fuller, some judges will say he looks different this week. He looks rounder this week. And then when it comes down to, making the call, I said they'll go with you because they'll see something different. Right. Unless Samson comes in, crazy peeled over last week or like blown up even more full than last week. But if he's the same and you look fuller, they'll give you the nod for sure. They'll say that which is not a say that they'll report what they see, which is that you look bigger. And in their eyes, bigger is usually, better.
I also think, Chris, when guys are very close like that and they know that, hey, you know what, these guys are trying to qualify for next year, sometimes one wins 1 week and the next week the other guy wins because it's so close anyway. They're like, all right, let's qualify both these guys instead of giving the same guy the win. It's only human nature. If I'm a judge, I'm like, well, Samson qualified last week. Rafa looks a little more polished this week. We could let's give him the win this week. Which I'm fine with because I think both guys should be on the Olympia stage, don't you?
Yeah, they're Olympia level competitors. At some.
Here's that picture you were talking about also with Rafa and Sean. Was this when he first met him, or was this more recent?
Yeah, that was when he first came to LA to train for the Arnold, and he got a late invite, and so he flew to Gold's, trained there, never been to Gold's, and of course the day he walks into the gym, Roden had been Mr. Olympia at the time, and he didn't dare to go up to say hello. He's too shy. And so Sean came up to him and said, I can't do Sean's voice, but, said, you're working with Chris. And then he said he wanted to see what he looked like. So Rafa, had a tank top on, trains in a tank top, flexed his shoulders. He said, no. Take your shirt off, take your pants off. Then he put him through all the poses because Sean's a fan, put him through all the poses. And Sean called me and said that I'm going to win a couple, but he could take over after me. That's why I knew he was going to win. All that weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that backstory, Chris. That's why I wanted you to tell it, because
Cool story.
It is a cool story, yeah.
How many?
The coolness of it is there's not many people anymore who are shy. He was too shy. You know what I mean? I would be too shy. Like, it was like 30 years ago if I was in Gold's Gym to go up to see Mr. Olympia or something. But this day and age, people go for, all right, everyone will go up to Mr. Olympia. Hey, Ramy, I'm so-and-so, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right.
I wonder if you could have a head count. How many bodybuilders have posed? Would it be thousands in that doorway there of that lighting coming in?
That mirror. That's the first
over the years.
back last week.
It's the original Kuwait lighting.
And still to this day, it's still one of the best lightings down there.
Listen, before there was Instagram filters, there was the Gold's Gym lighting, right?
But only till about noon. After that, it was no good. It was.
Well, I'm gonna test it out when I'm over in Venice next May. As shitty as I look, I'm gonna stand in that lighting and see how I look.
I was there last week. The first place I went, right to that mirror.
Did it work, John? Did it work still?
It did. It worked. I had cut.
Did you say mirror?
The sun hasn't moved yet. Maybe it's because the Earth's flat, John.
Yeah, I just wrote the Earth's flat.
Now, here's the picture this is a great picture. Samson Dowda put this picture up on his Instagram. Let me see if I can pull that up. Of him and Brandeo. And,
He's doing the out angle.
Yeah, he had angle, but Samson's got some freaky, proportion. Just looking at this picture, right? This guy has true potential. I know that when Chris looks at his physique, he's licking his chops like he'd love to work with that guy, with Samson, right?
Yeah, no, he's coming along with Milos.
Oh, Milos works. I didn't even know Milos works.
He's in good hands.
Yeah, no, but he's got all the bells and whistles on that physique. That could definitely. I think we're going to see him move up the ranks quite a bit over the next couple of years if he keeps improving. He's got that structure that can hold a lot of muscle on him.
Yeah.
And I think that, with another 10 pounds, he's going to be deadly on stage.
Well, they'll be by Thursday probably.
Are we done with shows for the year? I don't even know. Is there another show coming up?
Yeah, Spain is in.
Right? Isn't there one more or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, Amir's going to go into it. He's going to go to the Olympia this year. 4th place Amir.
Yeah, we're going to get to him in a minute, but
I'll be in Spain in December. I'm too late. Shit, I missed my.
What are you going on there for?
That's where my sponsors are.
Lee?
England and Spain. My sponsors are based in there, so I'll be going to England first, and then across to Spain. And then
he's got sponsors, and the guy. I don't think people are winning shows without sponsors.
I've had I've actually had sponsors. Like I said, I think. Victory was my first one at 17.
17,
yes. Never been a year without a sponsor.
Lee's got a waiting list of sponsors that are waiting to sponsor him when the other sponsors give up their position.
Yeah. Dave's going to sign me to Fiberlize.
That's right. I got him on a fire. I'm on a waiting list. But the problem is, I'm not even like first or second on the list. I'm like third on the list. Like,
no, you're first. You're first on the list.
Oh, I am first on the list. Oh,
yeah, I'm giving you first. I'm giving you first option.
You're first on the shit list.
Yeah.
Because Fiberlize is going to be my number one product. Because everyone goes, Lee gives me the shit, so Dave's going to put my face on the container.
That's right. Of course. The guys who shit the best, those are the people we want sponsoring us. Right. We all know Jason Huh. Maybe some of the young guys don't know who he is, but Jason's a great guy, obviously, and I'm friends with him. We always talk and stuff like that. And, it's usually when something happens to someone, we wind up talking on the phone about health and diagnostic tests and stuff like that. And So I did like a little consult with him on the phone, and he wanted to pay me, and I said, "Get out of here, Jason. I'm not taking any of your money." We've been friends for how long now? So he was just so persistent, and I'm like, the only thing I really want that you have, I said, is your Boland's pythons. He's got these really I'm into snakes, obviously. He's got these really exotic snakes.
Is that where you got the snake from that you posted?
I'm going to show it. Yeah. So hold on a second here.
I saw the thing saying you got a great gift.
Jason drives up in my driveway. He texts me. He's like, "Are you home?" I'm like, "Now he lives 2.5 hours away from me." All right. So he drives to my house 2.5 hours. He says, I'm coming by. He pulls up in this, John, you'd love this. He's got this Mercedes GT, a GT Mercedes.
That.
See that thing?
Yeah.
Have you seen the new one, the Black Series AMG GT?
That's what he's got. That's what he's got.
$350,000. This one.
Is that what it cost? I didn't even ask him, but
the brand new one's $350,000. The Black Series new AMG.
He's got, it looks like it's like a matte finish. He said it's a wrap on it or something like that. The whole thing's carbon fiber.
They wrap matte now. So you can change it. You can change the color.
Oh, so he started that thing up. I almost had an orgasm, listening to that thing. It was unbelievable.
I think they're up in the 700 horsepower.
Yep,
700 something.
I want to tell you, Jason's an animal lover like I am. So he pulls up in my driveway and he comes out of the car with this tortoise, this gopher tortoise. I'm like, I thought he was bringing me a snake, So I'm like, "What's this?" He goes, "Oh, I saw it in the road. I don't want it to get hit." He put it in his freaking whatever, how many $100,000 car. The thing shit and peed all over the rug.
Oh
and I would have been freaking. He was like, "Yeah, Dave, can you get me a garbage bag?" He took the garbage bag, he wrapped the mat up, and he put it in the garbage bag. Didn't get upset. I said, "Jason, He's like, I'll get another mat. What's the difference?" I don't want to see the tortoise get run over or anything like that. So he kind of released it in my yard. That's just Jason. Jason just is like a really, compassionate guy. And
that snake looks pretty interesting. And I don't.
Yeah, those Boland's pythons. The deal with them is that they're almost impossible to breed in captivity. No one's figured it out. A couple people bred them, but by accident, but no one knows how to consistently breed them. And they're from Papua New Guinea in this really remote area. And there's this one guy who does research on these things. His name is Ari Flegel. And I always listen to him on podcasts and stuff like that. And Jason's like, "Oh, do you know Ari Flegel?" I'm like, "How do you know him?" He's like, "Oh, I'm friends with him." I'm like, "You're friends with him?" I said, "Is that where you got the Boland's pythons?" Because this guy goes to Papua New Guinea, he climbs in the mountains, he climbs in, he sleeps in with the natives there. Jason's like his sponsor. Jason gives the guy money to do his field research on the Boland's pythons.
So now these are the ones that squeeze you to death, right?
No, I mean they're constrictors. You're not going to squeeze that snake is never going to squeeze any human being to death. That's
but I mean that's what they do. That's their thing.
Right, they're constrictors. They're constrictors.
Have you seen some of those big anacondas over there in the Amazon? They'll squeeze you to death. Some of those.
But these are from the Papua New Guinea. They're really dark, and the dark color because they're the temperate, the zone that the climate zone they're in it gets cold there. Like most snakes can't handle the cold. They need the cold, and that's one of the reasons why they don't breed in captivity because people don't get them cold enough. So it's pretty amazing, but that's why they're black because black attracts heat better. So when they'll bask in the sun, even during a cold day, they'll be able to warm themselves up better. So pretty interesting. Anyway, I want to just thank Jason.
So all that snake footage there, no footage of the car.
I know, right?
You know what? I almost kicked myself. I was so enamored with the car and the snake that I forgot to take footage of the car, to be honest with you. I should have, though. When he drove away, it was a badass car. It was really.
As he drove away and reversed over the turtle.
Yeah, right. And ran the turtle. No, he would never do that. The funny thing is, I thought of John. I thought of Lee because I know you guys love cars. And then I saw they showed a picture of all the cars that celebrities drive, and they were showing some of them drive Rolls Royces, and then they showed Warren Buffett. Chris, what kind what kind of car Warren Buffett drives?
Probably a Ford something.
Is it he's got the same car you do, Chris. He's got a 40-year-old Mercedes.
Does he have a Mercedes?
Yes. I thought of you. You got to look yourself at the same car as you.
What year is it?
It's like a 80 or 89 or something like that, like Mercedes.
You know, he goes to McDonald's drive-thru every morning, gets the same thing. Breakfast.
How funny is that?
I thought it was an old Chrysler that he drove.
No, at least the car.
Oh no, that's right, Dave. The only thing that he said he splurges on is a new car every like 5. Wait a minute, I thought is it old?
Every millennium he buys a new car.
Every 5 years or something. I read the other day he has 150 billion in cash that he doesn't know what to do with it because he can't find a good investment.
Oh my God!
And I said, there's a company. It begins with an S and it ends with an S.
Yeah, I want to build a Hall of Fame. Except there's no return on his investment on that one.
Did you see? I'm sure Jimmy was all over it. One of those people that went up with Shatner died in a plane crash last week.
I know. Isn't that weird?
I was gonna send that to Dave because you'd love the irony of it, Dave.
Isn't that weird? What do you think about that? You think that someone was going to try to leak the fact that they never went up in space?
That'll be Jimmy's. That's going to be Jimmy's story. He's going to tell the Earth was flat. They never went up into space, so his plane was crashed because he couldn't.
Well, no. Jimmy's new thing is, you know what? He just sent me. He just sent me a text before that he, the graphene that they have in the vaccines. It's like a.
Oh yeah, he sent me that too. Yeah.
Well, according to Jimmy's video he sent me, they're putting it in the food now, so that basically and then the 5G towers are supposedly attracting that metallic and it's ripping the tissues, creating COVID-like symptoms. So people think they have COVID, but it's the graphene.
I had those. All I can say is I had 3 shots. I had 2 AstraZeneca and a Pfizer, and no little teaspoons stick to me. Okay, I've tried. I've put teaspoons all over me, and they fall off on the floor.
Did anyone put a magnet to you yet, Lee?
Yes, I even had little fridge magnets. I stuck them there. My wife looks at me and goes, "What are you doing?" I'm standing in the kitchen taking magnets off the fridge, and they're just falling on the floor. So I am not Iron Man. So
you debunked that theory then.
Yeah.
There was one magnet though. When I got it off the fridge, it had a bit of condensation on it, and I did that, and it stuck. I went, "Quick!" I said to Rachel, "Quick, film it. Look, it's sticking." It was only sticking because it was a bit wet, and that's what people are probably doing. All my teaspoons hit the floor. I was no Uri Geller. They weren't sticking to me. But I did try. Even my mates that come over during lockdown to train, they said, "Lee, have you heard that spoons stick to you?" So during the workout, I had to go inside, get some spoons, come back into the gym, take my shirt off, and prove to them. And you should have seen the disappointment on their face when the spoons fell on the floor. Like, hey, but we saw this online. They stuck on people. I'm like, yeah, if you lick them, they stick on you. Yeah, that's the car. 350,000. I just saw it on a.
His is black. His is like a matte black looking.
The one I saw was orange, like an orange with the black bits on it.
Burnt orange, yeah.
His was all blacked out. It was pretty badass.
I don't like that juvenile wing on the road.
I don't know if his had the wing. To be honest. I don't remember at this point.
You can't miss it.
The only car a wing looks good on is a Porsche because it belongs.
Hey.
But
my Mustang looks very nice with the race wing, John. Thank you.
Look, if the whole car is like a race car and you're going to actually race it, then yeah. But I mean, if you're driving to get the groceries and
you don't have to worry about lift, yeah.
You don't have to worry about ground effects.
Well, I need a race car, John, when I go to the store to get the groceries.
That's true.
You know how hot it gets here. I got to get the ice cream home quick. Okay.
All right. Let's get back to the show.
It's for the ice cream. You and Joe Button.
Chris, you are working with the 4th place finisher, Emir Omaragic from Germany.
Yeah.
And Milos, I think, worked with the 3rd place guy, right?
Yeah.
Baruz Tabani.
Yeah, Amir's 22.
Is that guy only 22 on the left?
Amir is 22. No, on the left.
Yeah, on the left.
That's Raphael on the left, Dave.
Oh no, wait, hold on, I get the wrong picture. Sorry.
God, you get hammered, dude. Not knowing even who's in the show.
Yeah, exactly.
The German guy has a beard like Joseph Wilcox.
Remember Joseph Wilcox? Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Wilcox.
My grandmother loved him because he had the beard.
Think about it. He was the only one who had a beard back then.
Yeah, he was.
Mm-hmm.
Now everyone has the facial hair. You know what'll
got
happen.
no hair on they got no hair on their head, so they got no choice.
Yeah, true. Now, how did you meet Amir, Chris?
I don't know. He contacted me, blah blah blah. He was 21, and you know what's so funny, Dave? He he did a pro qualifier, and I thought, okay, the impossibility that he's going to lose, right? And he lost, and I thought in my head, like, oh my god. Well, I said, don't worry about it. The guy who beat you is going to be a great pro. And then I saw the pictures, and I said, you got screwed. I'm dead serious.
Oh, really?
So, what a tough year, Dave. Really, you want to know the greatest Amir story is that Amir had about 5 shows. I've been working with him a long time, trying to get his pro card, and I think it was 4 or 5 shows he either got rescheduled or canceled at the last minute. Got it? The big one was he was going to a show in Russia. And I said, Amir, you're going to be really hard to beat. He said, what day should I travel? And I said, why don't you travel on a Wednesday? And he took my advice. Actually, he didn't. He traveled on a Thursday. He landed in Russia, Dave, on a Thursday. And they said, oh, we just closed the entire country due to COVID like 3 hours ago to foreigners. You have to get back on the plane and go home.
No way. Oh, my God.
So he was not able to compete. He had to get on the plane and go back home. And then, of course, look at pictures of, if had I been there, I would have won. But had he flew in a day earlier, he had asked me, what day should I travel? I said, Wednesday. If he had flown on Wednesday, he would have been there already. He would have been in the show. So,
well, how many times did Samson Dowd not make it because he was supposed to be in like a million shows too?
That's true. Yes.
Canceled out of. So
you're 100% right. I forgot about that.
It was a tough year for competitors. I mean, I help a lot of guys. I know you did too, Chris. I mean, I felt bad for a lot of the guys that had to back out of shows and miss shows because the worst thing is you're 2 weeks out from your show and you're not even sure if you're doing it, and then they tell you the last minute, sorry, and you got to just suck it up and. It just sucks, yeah.
If you don't, you might not recall, but Rafael, who competed in Spain last, he got COVID there last, and he was qualified to do the Olympia last year.
And he got really bad, and he got a really bad case, right?
So he had not trained. That's right. So he had not trained at all for a long period of time. People think like, oh, he had the sniffles and a high temperature and was tired for 3 days. No, he had the whole
months.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're still just coming out of this craziness,
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, people have those are the COVID stories,
Let's talk about
that picture's a little jimmied up, by the way.
You think so?
Oh God,
he looks pretty freaky there.
It's got like Instagram highlights on it, dude. If he had looked like that, then he would have had 0 call outs.
He would have won. That's a gym.
What do you think of Lee when you see a picture like that?
That's Baru Kabani, who was set third.
If I was to see that picture, every time I see a picture like that, I just automatically think, why don't they look like that on stage? Every time I see one, because you look at somebody like that, you're thinking he could be top 3 at the Olympia looking like that from that
right. So
picture.
That's how you know it's the same photo.
He's got a lot of muscle on it.
Don't have that much muscle. Come on.
Yeah, that picture there doesn't do justice like that first one.
This looks a little filtered too, this picture.
Of course
right?
it is.
Yeah. What was your assessment of Baru's?
Good condition, good structure, good from all angles with the exception of the back.
Yeah. So what would you like to see him improve?
Back width, back thickness.
I wonder if he's going to be in Spain. I'm sure he probably is, right?
He's not. No.
He's not.
That's why I said Amir probably win 22 into the Olympia because you got Rafael not doing it, you got Samson not doing it, you got this guy not doing it.
I'm surprised Regan Grimes doesn't go do it. He's hit everything this year.
Is really might do it. Go for the win.
I hear Milos may jump in. No,
man, Milos could help Rolly between now and then, suck him down 20 pounds and.
Oh.
You know how like
really looked very full, didn't he, at that show?
I mean, at this point, why do you think Ruli's hitting these shows? He obviously knows he's not at his best. So,
but to qualify, I mean, sometimes, he may come in on points. He might, you know how it is. It's like, you as a pro, you sit out a show and then you turn on your computer and say, oh my God, how did I skip this show? It was so weak.
right.
I could have won that. How many times has that happened to people? And then they say like, oh, maybe I'll do, not that they're looking for a weak show, but they'll be like, okay, let me do this show in Chicago in 2 weeks or Tennessee in 2 weeks. And they go and it's like, everyone's there, everyone had the same idea. And, it's tough, Dave, it's tough to qualify for the Olympia, which, health screenings, they should make it easier.
I used to know a lot of people
under the guise of health screenings. I mean,
Yeah.
Even when I was competing, they would have people that would see the competitor list, and I know people that would say, well, I'm not doing that show because Chris is in it, Flex is in it, and all these people. But then, so they wouldn't do the show. And then when you go to the show, those guys aren't in shape. You're like, shit, I could have beat them. So
listen, I know Rolly one year was in a show with Sean and was talking to him on stage, trying to talk Sean out of the next show so that he could
What do you think about Quentin Aria, 5th place? I think this guy's got ridiculous potential.
He's got great flow, shape, tie-ins, blah blah blah.
What's he need? More back, Chris?
If I quickly looked up at then,
time or trend, one of the two or both. Time, trend, or both.
This guy might have the best genetics of all the new guys coming up.
Dave can't even hit a softball out of the park.
Wait. Did you say time, trend?
Yeah, I said Dave can't even hit a softball out of the park. Time, trend, or
I didn't catch the trend. I didn't hear what you said.
I said it twice. That's why I just said
yeah.
My
wife says I don't pay attention to what anyone says. So
someone told Amir what they were.
I shouldn't be engineering the show while I'm doing the show. That's the problem. I got to look for pictures while you guys are talking.
I thought you were doodling.
I don't doodle when I do this show. I'm actually
multitask.
Dave, somebody told Amir what they were using who was in this show, and if that is true, it's insane. So that was the dig in. It wasn't this kid.
Right.
And that was the
No, he was natural a few years ago, Chris.
I bet he was.
I interviewed him. He was natural. He only recently has been starting to take stuff. So, I mean, this guy has got unlimited potential, I think.
We were all natural at some point.
You're still natural, right?
Yeah.
Well, growth hormone and test is natural, right?
Exactly.
That's the way
he's really good. This kid is like really, really good.
Well, I was natural from 13 to 19. That was long enough, wasn't it?
That's 6 relatively good years then.
Yeah, well, I was winning shows from 13. I'd won the Mr. Australia natural at 17. So I was like 19, 20, I was going pro. So it forced me, the industry forced me to go under gear.
Right.
You were consumed by the group's collective, I know.
Yes.
When I look at a guy like Quentin Aria, I see a young Ronnie Coleman. I don't know if, we hear people say that all the time. He's got the youth. He's got very, just started really using anabolics. I think this guy has got unlimited potential. I don't know what his work ethic is, but if it's anything close to what it needs to be, I mean, he's got the tool set to go very far, I think. I'm putting it on the record.
There he looks a bit like a young Mike Ashley.
Yeah, doesn't he, with the abs?
Yeah.
His smile.
Yeah. or a bit of a Tony Pearson thrown in with a Mike Ashley.
When I would compete, you know how when you compete, you analyze the competition. And when I would see guys with like delts that look like someone put two freaking bowling balls on their shoulders and it extended their shoulder girth like 5 inches. I used to want to just like pack it in when I would see guys like that. I'm like, the genetic structure is so good that, you can put as much muscle on as you want. You're never going to beat a guy like that if they actually can fill their frame out and bring the conditioning on stage. I mean,
I used to like when I dieted down, like you can see with him when your shoulder would stick out, but it cuts right in. And then if you've got a good arm and that tricep would just bulge out, then your bicep, your arm just looks like this freaky. Doesn't even have to be big. If you've got that shape, your arm just looks so freaky and massive. Yeah.
Well, you had that, and you had some of the best arms in bodybuilding. I mean, Livroni too comes to mind with Livroni's biceps weren't as good as his triceps, but that shoulder tricep attachment was incredible.
That's the thing. If you can stand front on and you get those diamond shaped triceps flaring out while you're front on, it's like
Dexter had a good tie in there, tricep delt.
Yeah, for a short guy, you're right. It was impressive because you didn't expect to see that width on someone that wasn't that tall. I think that was what was impressive about him.
Agreed.
What do you think this guy's potential is, Chris?
Top something at the Olympia. I don't know what to. I mean,
is he a top 6 guy eventually?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, because the sport is going to slingshot back to, it's going to be dominated by Ramy for a while, and then nobody's going to come on the scene bigger than Ramy. So what's going to have to come on the scene is people, who look more like Brandon, if that makes sense, to be able to pull the idea of what we want as Mr. Olympia as the ideal. I'm not criticizing Ramy. He's crazy, gigantic, huge, and I see him continuing to win. But the next Mr. Olympia, because nobody can go on forever, right?
Yeah.
But the next Mr. Olympia, I think it will be somebody who's a hybrid of classic with mass, because it just can't. Because you can't. In this sport, you cannot. We have classic because people pushed the envelope. I'm not saying that they pushed the envelope with anabolics, but they pushed the envelope with size at all at all costs. I remember Bob Paris. If you go back and listen to videos of him years ago, he would give you a very analytical opinion of, be careful of rewarding only mass, because then we will only be able to award only mass, and you'll lose the perfect ideal and the harmony. And he goes into all this like artistic, his own skewed idea of where the sport should go. But what's so funny?
No, it's funny because you said it's his own screwed up view of the sport.
No, skewed.
Yeah, skewed, screwed up. The same thing. It's skewed in the sense that
it's his own bias.
Bodybuilding about building muscle. I mean, and being conditioned.
Listen, so I'll say it. We awarded Branch Warren with multi-Arnold Classic champions, and out came the Classic division because people didn't like where it was going.
No, it's true.
Or competitors didn't like where it was going. If it wasn't for classic bodybuilding and men's board shorts right now, promoters would be making nothing. And bikini. So,
you mean in terms of the amateur level?
No, yeah. So I'm saying that I think I made my point.
Yeah, but it could conceivably be 8 more years before we get a new Mr. Olympia.
Dude, it's going to be way shorter than that.
No, I think 2 or 3. 2 or 3 tops.
But it could be a stretch. Could be. It's happened before a couple times.
No, you're right, John.
After seeing this year, though, because like we said, when we used to see Dorian or Jay or Ronnie come out or Phil Heath, it was almost like, wow, no one's touching him. But this year, even seeing how Brandon looked, it looked closer. You could think, you know what, Ramy is beatable. When you saw Phil and Ronnie and them, you just what, no one's going to beat them. Whereas when you saw Brandon this year with Ramy, if Ramy slips that little bit, he seems real beatable. So I'm thinking 2 or 3 years max. That's nothing against Ramy, but I just think.
Well, it's not. I mean, Kai was always right there with Phil. I mean, it was just a matter of Kai couldn't dial it in for the Olympia. I mean, Kai could have beat Phil
and Ramy could look at that as a close call and go, "Holy shit, man! I better pour it on." For this next year.
Yeah, but you can't pour. At 38.
I just think some of these newer guys coming up, even like Ian Valliere or some of these other people who are coming up with nice shape and the mass are gonna. I'd love to see someone come along again like Dillette that could really pose good with that shape Dillette had.
I guess that's the direction I was headed with that. Is if Quentin had, let's say, 20 more pounds of muscle and you put him next to Ramy, you would not look at Ramy.
Yeah.
So and that's not a dig against Ramy. It's just how good structures, Dave. I don't know if you recall.
Would Roden have beat Ramy?
Oh yeah.
That's your point right there. Take it right there.
Who's got better
structure
legs?
With the structure?
who's got more? I mean, you got to take the person's best body part and say how's his against his, right?
Well, if Brandon almost beat Ramy, Roden's
Yeah.
got legs, like you said. I mean, he would have beaten
Mhm.
Ramy, obviously.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the. I guess what was the question? Is it where's
Does Quinton have the ability to be a top Olympian? You said yes, and then I guess you
because
wanted
the
to
mass
take one step
monsters,
further.
because the mass monsters are not going to push the sport forward, because most of the time, for whatever reason, by the time you get to be a mass monster this day and age, your physique's gone.
You're right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's not like when Coleman was a mass monster in '98, which he was, he had a tiny waist.
Mm-hmm.
And he did get bigger, but you know, his physique was not as good as it was in '98. He's a one in a gazillion. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And if you can have, and like Chris said, if you can have that mass and come in shape conditioned, your eyes are always going to go to that shape and conditioning. Well, look at Sean Clarita. He proved the point. He had the shape, the size for his height, and he won that Open against two guys who were much taller, outweighed him by 60, 70 pounds, but his shape and condition, your eyes just couldn't be taken off Sean Clarita. So,
well, if Ramy would have came in with bad conditioning, or would have come in with bad conditioning, I mean, Brandon would have won. I mean, so Brandon be Mr. Olympia again. You know, so I mean, anyone's beatable. We know that.
Yeah, I just don't.
but I even think Ramy in good condition. If someone comes in with just that, as Chris is saying, that shape that Sean Roden had, or you know, just that flowing shape, it's going to make, you know, Ramy's big and he's massive, but someone with perfect symmetry and shape is going to make him look blocky, even though he's not really blocky. But someone will make him.
Lee, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what we're missing right now in the sport, and that is that, which is surprising to me, is if you remember, Wheeler, Levrone, Dillette, Coleman, that era, when you'd have to come out and do your front double bicep by yourself, you know, you do your mandatories. The head judge would call the mandatories, and you'd have to do what he told you to hit, right? So there was a lot of drama involved. But, and Phil and Jay, but they were like, every single pose, you would sit, there was just, you'd get blown away by every single pose. Pick a bodybuilder. Wheeler, front double, front lat spread, crazy taper, crazy leg detail at his best when he was light. Side chest, glute hams tie in. You know,
that most muscular to the front with his shoulders and his
most
arms.
muscular, you know, back double, back lat spread. Same thing with Coleman. Whereas where we are now, it's odd that you go to an Olympia and at the top 5, you see like gaps in, like, you don't get shocked by like, wow, that when he turned to, you know, that's where Phil would, right? Phil, where was Kai's weakness? Back double, back lat spread, side chest, side. Every single shot was crazy.
Yeah. Well, I used to think back then too. I used to love it when all those guys were competing, and at some of those shows, you could tell somebody posing just by their silhouette and their shape standing there, because everyone just had such a different shape that was so out of this world. You wouldn't even have to turn the light on. Just standing in the shadow, you knew who the body was.
Yep,
it's true. What did you think about the 212 division at this Romania show? Angel Calderon, he won. This is his third time winning this show in the 212 division. Pretty crazy, huh?
Gift. I'm just kidding. He looked crazy. 212.
Now he beat Ashkenani, who won last week. I mean, what'd you think? I mean, last week you told me you didn't think Ashkenani would deserve the win.
No,
you know?
I didn't think he deserved to win, and Angel deserved to win this show. He looked phenomenal. I think this is his all-time best. Angel.
He looks like Jose Raymond, doesn't he? Like a little bit.
Well, because it's powerful, you know.
Big upper body, you know.
If you look at the
his upper body there reminds me a little bit of Ben Aziza.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, the way he hits that front lat spread.
Yeah.
He looked outstanding. The 212 class is outstanding. You know, tremendous level of conditioning, density in this division, and a show like this, you know, I mean, it's not. I mean, it's an important show, but look at the depth. A lot of competitors, top 10 are phenomenal. You know, if you look at where the 212 has come in the last 10 years versus where the Open has come in 10 years, the 212 has gotten more competitive, and the Open is like I wouldn't say it's gone backwards or gone side. It's just maybe, the same. Actually, less. What year were we at? 2021, 2011. You got Jay winning the Olympia. You got Phil second. Who was third? Kai, maybe? I don't even know. Pretty damn good top three. You think Kai couldn't beat Heidi Chupin?
Of course,
You think Phil could beat? You know what I mean? See what I mean? That you just comparing the top three.
It's you can't. It's hard to compare people from different generations because until you see them stand on the stage with each other, it's like you think it's an accurate because you're trying to go by your memory, what these guys look like. I don't think anyone would have ever beaten Coleman in the history of the sport. I mean, pretty much in 03 or 98, 99. I mean, those were his best years. Maybe the 01 Arnold, right? He looked amazing.
Yeah.
Or was it 02? I don't. What year did he do the Arnold?
01 Arnold.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those are crazy years. I don't think anyone in the history of our whole bodybuilding organization would ever have beaten those Colemans. But when you start comparing the other guys, it's like, I don't know. Would Phil have beaten Levrone? Would Levrone have beaten Phil? It's very hard unless you see them stand next to each other on stage to make those comparisons.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. I hate the comparisons.
And it really doesn't. I guess it doesn't really. It's not really right to do that to the guys today because we don't even know. Maybe these guys today would have blown their doors off. If we would have seen them on stage next to each other. I don't know.
Yeah. It's
like the dream matchups. Like when you see these boxing matches, you would love to see how would Ali have done against Tyson. Would he have beaten him? How would George Foreman have done against Mike Tyson?
What Rocky movie was that? Where Rocky had that video game, then they had the real exhibition match.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
But I'm just saying.
What was that boxing movie with De Niro and Stallone, where Grudge Match, where they?
I actually liked that movie. Didn't get good reviews, but I actually liked it. Yeah,
it wasn't a bad movie.
Kind of cool. Yeah, it was well done. Actually, I thought it was good. I know a lot of people don't like Robert De Niro anymore because all his political bullshit that he says, but
he's right up there with Alec Baldwin.
Exactly. I don't even know why these actors get even involved with politics. They should just do their thing and just leave the politics out of it.
Because when come on, Dave, when you're really good at something, you think you're good at something else.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly. People can.
You hit the nail on the head. You hit it right.
Dave, people can have a supplement company, Species, and it can be wildly successful, and they think like, how you get sucked into your own success and think like you're smart in every topic across the board.
He has a supplement company, then he thinks he can do videos on breeding snakes and bullshit.
I'm actually good at snake breeding. No, but it would be like, me to say, what? I'm successful. I think you should run for governor. Like what the fuck do I know about running a fucking state?
Wait a minute. You got to run the state like a business,
Well, that's true. That's true. But, guys,
you got to run a budget like a business, but not necessarily.
Right. And if you have business acumen, but if you're like fucking LeBron James, you're useless. Right. So,
I was a bodybuilder, Dave. When you need that, defibrillator changed, I've watched shows on heart
James
surgery.
quote to put down Sean Ray.
Well, it's like a bodybuilder thing. Every bodybuilder who's ever been successful on stage thinks they can actually coach people and be a good coach. And a lot of these guys were great despite themselves because they didn't even know what the fuck they were doing. They just had great genetics.
Dave, I think of all the time when you say, Dave has told me, but when a guy doesn't deserve to win, he really doesn't. And even he's surprised. Like, whoa. Dave, I'll never forget. I said, do you think we were somewhere, Dave? And I think, do you think even he believes it? And Dave's like, give him 30 seconds. All his friends will come up to him and they'll tell him, right? You deserve to win. You deserve to win.
Well, I would. What I was telling Chris is there's shows where guys who win shows like can't even believe that they won because the guy who should have won did. It was a clear. But after about 10 minutes, they've convinced themselves in their head that I am better than that guy.
Dave, I'll do it. Dave, I've done that 100 times. I'll look at something and I'll make an offer on some type of real estate, and I fall in love with it. And they say, "Oh, you didn't get it. Someone offered more." And I'll say, oh, piece of shit anyway.
Yeah.
and then I'll buy something 3 streets over, and I'll say this street's got more trees, it's got brick lines, and I'll justify, and I say I sound just like the bodybuilder.
Yeah,
So when people say like, "Hey Chris, you know, do you think this one's better than that one?" I said, I do the opposite. I say, no, I'm completely biased. I have no idea. I just will say, like, you know, it's got a fenced backyard, you know, better neighbors. People justify anything. So when, you know, LeBron James is successful in basketball, and, you know, people say, well, we'll give you millions and millions, you know, maybe he thinks, like, you know, I'm smart enough to run the state.
Yeah.
That reminds me of when I used to ask girls out to write to them, and they'd write back and go, no thanks. I'd like, fucking lesbian.
Oh, watch it. Watch it.
There goes our monetization.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
I look, I'm a lesbian. I looked up the meaning, and I fit into under categories of what lesbians like. I'm a lesbian.
Well,
they're like going down on women and stuff like that. That's me.
One. It's all in the identity. It's all in the identity, Lee. It's
whatever day the wind's blowing southeast, I'm a lesbian.
You know,
southwesterly.
It used to be so easy. You were either straight or gay. Now there's so many like categories in between that I'm not even sure. Like if there is,
there's 100.
Yeah,
last I heard 100 genders.
Is there really?
Oh, there's more than that.
There's cis, bi. No, there's 100, and they had this person on.
No,
what I was
just wondering is if you walked into a bank and said to the teller, "I identify as a billionaire. Just
give me $1 million
money, will you?
Yeah,
take it off my account.
Exactly.
Bound to be one in there."
Look, I wanted to say, you know, I had put out there, you know, we did a lot of I did a lot of education this past week on, you know, going to get your diagnostic test done, getting your cardiac CT, echocardiogram. And a lot of guys went out and got it done. And I've gotten a lot of people sending me their test results and asking. And luckily, most people are pretty good. But there were some people that came back with blockages and stuff like that. So I want to just reiterate it again because it's worth repeating over and over. If you haven't had a cardiac CT scan, which tells you if your coronary arteries are open or if you have blockages or anything like that, they're cheap. The cardiac CT, I think the cardiac CT calcium score is like $70 or something like that.
With your insurance,
go get it done.
Yeah,
it takes 5 minutes. You're in the machine, and you know what? You'll know if you have any blockages or if you have any calcium buildup in your vessels. It's the easiest test, and you know what? You could put your mind at rest once you know you got nothing in there.
I sent Dave mine a couple of months ago because I can't understand it. I just send it to Dave and go, Dave, is this good or bad?
Yeah, you had a little bit of calcium, but not a lot. It was like really low, you know. So, but there's like you could take like pure EPA oil, which helps open up those vessels and get rid of the plaques and stuff like that. So there's things you can do naturally.
You sent me some, Dave.
I did, yeah, to fix the problem. And I think a lot of people are scared to know, but you know what, guys? Don't be dummies. Check it out because it's not worth dropping dead. Or look, like I said, go see Kelly Muscle. Watch his video. The guy was crying on there saying, like, you know, I can't believe Sean Roden's dead and I'm alive, you know, because I could have been dead too. So don't leave it to chance. Get your cardiac CT scan, get your echocardiogram to see how your heart is functioning, and go for blood work, you know, every 6 months. You know, it's a no-brainer, really. And check your blood pressure on a regular basis. Those blood pressure cuffs, the auto-inflate ones, cost, you know, like $80 or $90. Get a good one. Keep it in your house. Check it.
Let me tell you, I did that last time at my mum's house because she has one of them. My mum used to be a nurse, but she hasn't practiced for a while. Each time she did it, I got like 4 different readings. So I just took the best one. I'm like, Mum, what are you doing? And she goes, let's blow it up again. I said, my arm. I said, and plus, you just gave me a strong cup of coffee 10 minutes ago. I said, I'm going to walk out of here. I don't know if anyone else is that. What do they call it? White coat fever. I can go into my doctor's office as calm as anything. As soon as I sit there and he gets that cuff out, I'm like, boom, 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 boom. Because I'm starting to think it's going to be high.
I'm going to tell you what you do, Lee. If you have white coat syndrome, which means you get nervous when they're going to take your blood pressure, don't try to think of anything calm, because as soon as you do that, your heart speeds up. Think of the most chaotic, nutty thing, racing your car, anything that's totally chaotic, working out in the gym. that will relax you. As a
I might have
bodybuilder,
to, I
that's
might
what
have to start
relaxes
thinking
us.
about that shoelace and
I'm telling you, it
shoelace and
works.
coffee
I
table.
promise you, try it. Do the opposite of what you would normally
I'll
do.
think about the shoelace and coffee table scenario.
There
again.
you go.
There
That'll
you
work.
go. Yeah. Thank you. Congratulations to Rafa Brandeo on the win, and I'm glad he's qualified for the Olympia. It was a great comeback, after having COVID last year. And Chris, great job with him. You did awesome 2 weeks in a row. So he should he'll go back to. He's a big name in Brazil, right, Chris? He's a huge star over there.
Insane. You know what? If you want to be a bodybuilder and monetize bodybuilding, be born Brazilian.
Yeah. I mean,
they
Eduardo was big over there back in the day too, right?
They're everything you need to know about Brazilian bodybuilding. I think was the first year. I think I said this before. They had the Arnold Classic down there, and I was at the Probiotica booth with Eduardo Correa. You were with him,
yeah. Crazy.
And Arnold came through, and Arnold had all his bodyguards, which he always does. And the crowd was so psychotic to see Arnold, they broke through. When all the bodyguards, whatever they do, like hold arm to arm, shoulder to shoulder, so that you can't possibly get through. They broke through that, and that was right in front of the Probiotica booth. And Arnold's face was in total panic because right? People are.
Well, you're in a foreign country, yeah. No one speaks English.
Well, it was crowded. It was crazy crowded. They're crazy bodybuilding fans.
When I was with
here we do this. Here's the fans here. Oh, Lee Priest isn't that. I expect him to be. He's not even as big as he was at the night. You know what I mean? It's all critics.
Right.
Hey, when I was with Black Skull, I was with them. 2019, 18, and 17. Those 3 years, I was in Brazil twice a year at the Arnold and that, and just going down. Other times, I need to do seminars. They were crazy down there. Even as shit as I looked, they told me I looked fantastic. I was going to move there.
Yeah, me, Eduardo, and Flex Wheeler once did me, Eduardo, and I don't. Maybe it's
yeah, you were working for Probiotica.
Oh, yeah. We did a seminar down there, and we get down there. I said, "Well, how many people do you expect tomorrow?" Paid 3,200.
Oh my God! Wow,
is that crazy?
Yeah.
Is that when Marcelo?
And Chris was saying maybe I should have charged more for the seminar.
Is that when Marcelo was still with Probiotica? Chris Marcelo that started at Black Skull.
Yeah, he used to drive the motorcycle to the headquarters, like
the Harleys,
100 miles a day to get there.
Well, also, I want to end the show by saying thank God, thank you, Lord, for saving one of us. And Victor Richards, I'm glad you're alive. And if you want to hit me up, we'll talk a little bit. But that's good news.
You're one of the Antichrist reviewers.
I probably am. I think he's mad at me from the whole Ed Connors thing. That's what I really think. You remember when Ed Connors, you told the story about him shooting the gun? And Ed's a pretty reliable witness, John, wouldn't you say?
Yep.
John, are you stoned? Everyone keeps asking that in the comments.
No, I have this eye allergy. My eyes have been like, I can't even keep them open sometimes.
All right. Well, we're wrapping this up.
Smoke gets in your eyes.
If I was going to smoke, I would vape. So I wouldn't. Bother.
Yeah, usually before the show, he does a couple vapes and then that's
well,
it. I didn't
do that. I didn't do that.
No, I didn't see you do it.
No, his screen went off a couple of times. Where did you go, John?
That's true, Lee. You're right. It did.
I was letting the dogs in. I did not. That's it. No.
All right. Well, anyway, Victor, we're glad you're doing well. And as we say every week here at Heavy Muscle Radio, with Heavy Muscle Radio, guys,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone. See you next week.
Good afternoon.